Okay, so welcome to our revision class. We have mentioned that our test 1 will take place on Saturday, 8 to 9, 1 hour. Let us be there in time. We sit and we do our paper. It will be structured with objectives and then some structured, short structured answers for the section B. Then our second test will be purely objectives and online. If there are 100 objectives, you will have less time than the 100 minutes to manage our expectations, but to also allow us to be able to focus and not to just regurgitate what has been done, or even it will just be open for that time. So that is what we do plan to have our 2 tests. For now, we would want to revise through our 4 sections and we find out where are some of the issues. Joshua, you're very correct. So I would want to find out with chapter 1. Let us look at the core items in chapter 1, because chapter 1 was understanding our core basics. We were trying to understand the basics of the digital profession and investigation. Again, I'll remind you, as you're reading, what are your guiding factors, your guiding components, your learning outcomes, your key objectives are always structured well in terms of questions. And of course, always set them for case studies. We must always give you some case studies, some story, such that you see how to apply what you're looking at, especially for section B questions. It's very important to have them that way. Bahati, you'd want to mute because we're hearing some background noise, please. Okay, so for chapter 1, we were just doing some quick basics of the definitions. At least we need to know what our definition is of digital forensics. We should be able to explain how to prepare a forensic investigation, whether it is public or even private. The issue about public is that it's handled by government, public offices. For example, I'll give an example like the police, like NITA, those handle investigation for the public or part of the public. Then the private sector, those are organizations that are specialized in digital forensics to help them handle investigations. Imagine there is a killing somewhere. May God receive their souls and may they rest in eternal peace. Honorable Jacob Bolanya, the late. And someone says, no, let us do some digital forensics. Maybe we can pick some information. Maybe we can pick some cues somewhere of maybe what may be the cause of his untimely death. Because really, personally, I was very traumatized, but may his soul rest in peace. I've taught some of his children at masters, so it's a very tough time. And we imagine that for the whole country, really, we are totally traumatized, but may his soul rest in peace. Imagine there is a particular case and you would want to be called upon. It's okay, the family can decide, government can investigate. In addition, the family can say, okay, let us also try to carry out a private investigator. We get our own private investigator to give us our own independent report that we shall pay for. So those in the private sector also do forensic investigation. So for the public, government handles that. For the private sector equally manages that. However, there are some times when the public supports the private. Go ahead, please. Yes, please.
Madam
Yes,
Pado.
Apollo, we can't hear you. Do you want to use the chat room so that I pick what you're saying? I was just trying to explain the private and public and how they work together. So I was saying sometimes something may happen in, for example, a bank that is still private sector. However, they can come and request government to come and help them carry out an investigation. Government can be willing to come in to support the public, the private sector, sorry, in coming up with these items. So it's very important to know. It's very important for us to appreciate and know what our issues currently are. Okay. We can also be in position to explain the importance of a professional conduct. And we should be able to know what are some of these characteristics. How do we take ours or train ourselves as professionals? What are some of the minimum basics? And here we'll always ask you things like the skills that you would need. What skills would you need as a forensic expert? What are some of these skills? Of course, we need both the technical and we need the other items, but more of the technical because we are mainly getting a lot of evidence from our different items. So you should be good at using our tools and several others that we looked at. And even when you look at, when we have that session with NITA, we will be able to see, I will inform you of the days, the dates, they're still looking around their schedule to allocate us a complete day when they can allow us to come in all the way from morning till evening so that they are able to have some small sessions for all of us. So when we look at the profession bodies, we will be able to see that there are some basic items that they tell us that we need, like certifications. Not everyone who does investigation, not everyone's report will be accepted. No, it's only those few who meet the criteria, minimum criteria, that is accepted. We'll also want to describe how to prepare digital forensic investigation and the systematic approach. Please do not go for any paper, be it a test, be it an exam, without knowing the steps in digital forensic investigation. This we have seen, I think, in even 2 sets of chapters. Chapter 3 helped us to do a recap of chapter 1 and 2 and to tie our storyline together. We also captured and looked at those steps, all the way from the identification step to our presentation and preservation steps. So do not miss out on that life cycle. It always comes in one way or the other. We will always twist it. It's just like coming for a system analysis and design exam without knowing the steps in which they undergo. No, that is very dangerous. You don't do that. And the basic ones of the diagrams that we actually are able to use. And also being able to notice at each of the levels, what are some of the tools one can be able to use is very important. Then also being able to describe, yes, we've said again, the systematic approach of forensics, we've seen it. Describing the procedures for private sector and investigations. There were some quick examples of how they handle some of the investigations. Explaining the requirements for data recovery. This we did, and of course, there's a lot of software that's available to do the data recovery. And of course, we said at the end of carrying out a whole process of forensics, as a team, you sit and do an evaluation. which we call a critiquing. We just sit to see exactly what we are covering. We sit to appreciate through and look at the core items that one is interested in. We just get feedback from each other because of experience, because of what works, what doesn't work. Do we need to do further investigation on different items? All those add a lot of value when coming up with these items. Okay. So that was the basic of what chapter 1 had. Are there any particular items on these that we feel we would want to go through in detail? Because I'm telling you, as you're doing your reading, please, the key core guiding items should always be your learning outcomes. Of course, in this slide, we're looking at, of course, the key core details of what we've covered or what we hoped to cover, but we've covered all the way to 8. We've left out 9, 10, 11, but 9 and 11 have already been done in practicals using the reg analysis, the reg shot. Reg shot is what we use for malware analysis, as well as the system registration analysis, finding out what is currently happening and what form of malware are actually running. And we covered, actually, in our chapter 8, we covered malware. That's where we ended. So we've really done it. What we've left out are the incident response tools, which you'll still cover in the other course unit that you're already covering, because it was quite a mouthful for 10 weeks and for people to conceptualize what we have. Okay, do we have any particular? Okay, Bahati is saying yes, procedures for private sector investigation. Okay, so here is preparing for digital investigation. And that's why they're saying there are usually 2 types of investigation, of digital forensic investigation. We have the public sector and our private sector investigation. Of course, here they're just showing an illustration. If it is public sector, that is where they're showing us the headquarters of government. This is for the US. That is headed, you can even see the polls. This is usually a common gesture showing exactly where their initial, all the FBI offices are, not even just FBI, but more or less like their police at every one of the states and counties that does the forensics. So they're just showing someone has just been brought in a particular case and they're doing an investigation on them. This is a cop. We can see him and hand. Let me just blow it in and we see. He has handcuffs on someone, on a suspect. We can't be in a hurry to call them. We can't be in a hurry to call them a criminal until the court of the law says that. They keep suspects until, that's why we carry out forensic interviews. We carry out digital interviews with them, talking just to the machines and gadgets they had. However, they also need to do more of the talking to find out what the issues are. Private sector, that happens in organizations, those which are not government oriented. And usually, as you see, for private sector, it is violation of the company policies. For example, they get you watching pornography. That is it. We just have to do, we already saw how to view our browser, and to use our different tools. And once we do that on your computer and we're able to pick through and we know what you've been watching, that is it. You're violating the policies. One can take you on, especially if you're a very difficult person to work with. You're not cooperative, you're very bad, you're not available. And the time you come, you're giving people such a very hard time. Then that is when they say, good riddance. Let us now take you on. So that is how we do manage these issues of the private sector and what they handle, and government. For government, I've told you they handle KICOA, like if it's mismanagement of government funds, a forensic investigation on, I don't know, someone who was in a project and work was never done well. So here they explain what exactly how they're preparing for it. And it happens at the Department of Justice. Of course, the Fourth Amendment law, you should know what it states according to the Constitution, because it's from there that actually, that's what gave us the power and the energy as forensic experts to keep on carrying out these searches. Yes, you have a right to then come up with these searches, come and pick information from wherever. If it's me you're coming to investigate, it's okay. Once you give me your details of who you are and you tell me what you've come to do, I need to give you a right and tell you it's okay to go ahead. If it's not possible, then they can use other means. They can either just call for reinforcement from police to come and carry you, and they immediately pick out on the information of what they need. Of course, not stopping you short also from your social media to be able to search more about you. So the private sector focuses more on the policies, while for government, it mainly focuses on government, its ministries and agencies, and all the prosecutions that have to be done. Are there any killings that are government related that we could maybe attach some digital forensicness? We don't know. Misuse of public funds, and some whistleblower has come out and told us, yes, in this place we can see the way Mulago boss was put in. We are not sure, we can't pick the facts. It's government doing the investigation of whatever issues. He will be acquitted the moment they get the facts. Don't forget, the aim of coming up with forensics is to discover the truth. So once the truth comes out, we are good to go. And of course, if it's government, we always look out for what our policies are, especially the computer and other acts that we have in Uganda. We looked at our acts that are there, and we follow procedures. The witness or victim must make an allegation to police. Someone must come and complain. A whistleblower, in government, they call them the unwanted witness. A whistleblower just comes up and writes one letter and just drops it somewhere. No name, no nothing. You can't follow through. Just drops it there and makes copies to big offices. Then you know, okay, something is actually happening here. Someone is doing something intentionally or maliciously, or eating up money in an organization. Many times there is always money involved in it. Of course, here they're giving us some of the KICOA things they look at here. They would follow the dicto evidence first responder in terms of what kind of evidence do they pick up. They appear at the crime scene or the incidents of the scene, assess the situation and take precautions just to acquire and preserve this evidence. And that's how we said, whenever they come like this, they come with their kits. Those kits are very powerful, very strong gadgets. They can be able to get an image, they're telling us, of over how many terabytes in very few seconds, not even complete minutes, seconds. It shows how powerful some of the tools that government would have in reaping and picking information. Even phones, they have also the forensic tools to carry out forensic investigation on phones. They just attach it and to their gadget, that is it. They do the right blocking, use their software, view. All your contacts are taken up, anything you've ever put here on the phone, make an image of it and off they go. To see it, and of course, the analysis again is in such a very short time. Reports are very detailed. print them out in English, and they're able to submit them for evidence. It's not for them to sit and analyze, no. The police has experts that sit and analyze these details. However, they need to get these digital forensic people. One challenge you will notice is that a number of organizations may not be in position to even employ them. However, since now this crime is becoming very serious, especially malware analysis, as we covered in our chapter 8, it's becoming a very serious business now to ensure that all government people have these, not even just government, but even private sector, at least are able to track and have qualified IT people that do it. Because you'll see for Uganda, I told you, our biggest threat that we face, the biggest malware that we face as a country are always on emails. The fraudsters, I don't know, they're sending viruses, they're sending all those love messages, trying to see who can fall for their story. Oh, I'm a grandchild of Gaddafi. I have billions of money somewhere. Send me your account and I send you this money. Lies, nothing for free. Of course, they always swear affidavit. Affidavit is what is sworn. I don't know if you have seen people in court who always have what? They carry a Bible and you swear. It's a sworn statement to support the facts of the evidence about a particular crime. So you swear, I'm telling you nothing but the truth. I don't know something, nothing only but the truth. That is swearing an affidavit. That happens especially if your names, have you sat for O-level, A-level, and you find that, yes, your names are not written well. Yes, I can see because I have a candidate child and I'm just looking at their list and I'm seeing, when did people's surnames become their first names? And I'm thinking, this is serious. Because it goes a long way. Your first name, that means forever. Everywhere we go to, we shall keep referring to you as, for example, if someone is called Chiinji Wallis, it is Chiinji is your first name. That is very serious. So even in your birth certificate, that's how it appears. Instead of the other English name, then your surname last. Anyway, that's how people have chosen to write their names. Magezi, something. It's okay as long as people have actually written them in the proper accepted ways. Okay. Under the private sector, we've seen that, yes, the private sector investigation always involves private companies, lawyers, who address the company policy violations and litigation disputes. Of course, if there is anything like a wrongful termination, they would want to find out why, especially this one is serious because people can take you on to the labor law, the labor courts. There are so many places that have a very soft spot for people who are fired out of work. I don't know if you remember a story like of Stella Nyanzi. Stella Nyanzi was fired from MOOC for whatever issues, but I'm telling you, she got smart lawyers and they took on the university. She ended up winning. They paid her lots of money. And unfortunately, I think most of the money went back into politics. Think about 500 or 800 million in addition to court costs. So if someone doesn't advise, or if the legal people don't advise your management of an organization, do not be in a hurry to quickly terminate people because you found them breaking computing policies. No, there are other penalties. There are other penalties, there are suspensions. There are some small penalties that you will give them. There are cautions. You give them a first warning, take them for counseling. Not everything heads into termination, because if you ever make such a decision to terminate someone, on your head, it will be a very tough remark for you to handle that kind of situation. So businesses strive to eliminate this kind of litigations. You don't want to go to court. So manage them in-house. And these are some of the issues the private sector people handle, like email harassment, falsification of data. By the way, I sent you the book. I sent you the book, and I would advise you to please, in addition, again, your slides are very brief, very brief. You may think there are many, 88 for chapter 1, very few. I advise you, me, I'm still going to send, let me just quickly go through to the chat room. I know there are some people who have not been picking these notes. Please, I'm going to still upload them here, download them, share them. And that's why we keep telling you, you come for exams, you find you with phones, you're basically more or less with your entire whole book, because it has all your notes, it has all recordings, it has, we find you with a smartphone. Do not get yourself into lots of this trouble. Don't call for it at all. Okay. So there are all kinds of reading material, but we have our KICOA book, that is a guide to digital forensic investigation. There we go. It has a lot of details. So as you read each chapter, each section, you can relate with it. Others that are outside, because we strictly followed the content in our course outline, we had to look for extra content, and we've still been able to share much detail from it. Okay, so that's all about our private investigations. And of course, if you're to understand it, we looked at lines of authority. You need to have followed, you need to follow the rightful procedure. Yes, our book has attached. Oh, I'm seeing it's getting on and off. Okay, the book is attached in the chat room. You can be able to download it. So here we can be able to understand what our investigation is, our lines of authority. And of course, you'll see that in the book, there are case studies as to how they handle them. And just here they're telling us, as we set up policies in organizations, do not forget to raise this awareness. Otherwise, we will ask, it is their word against yours. When you're employing these people, did you train them? Did you take them through the do's and don'ts? Those are things they will take you on in court for. Is there evidence that they signed to abide by these rules? So why are you now taking them on to court after you find that you have loopholes? You didn't take this on, you don't have those policies, you have not captured them, it becomes very tough. What about, do you have them as warning banners? You want to make sure that you always inform you want to inform the people in all ways, all forms of ways, whether it is putting them on their desktops, having them as screensavers, putting them at the bottom of their emails, putting details on the computers, as long as it is a private company's computer, then you are in charge of making sure that at least warn them. Warn the people, don't put up laws and you say, I just want to trap them. I want to trap these people to see if they are going to do this and the other. Of course, they provide always lots of examples that one could be able to follow through. Okay. Yes, some more questions, please. On professionalism here, we are saying maintain objectivity, make sure that you come up with what they mean by objectivity. Do not be subdued. However much pressure you're under, focus on the truth. Don't say, you see, this is a high profile case. Oh, they've already promised to give me 100 million. I'm not going to tell the truth. Tell the truth. It's what will last the test of time. Okay. Otherwise, if you're going to telling lies, you will need more lies to cover up for one lie. End of the day, the lies will end up with you. They will throw them right into your face and you get very embarrassed. Okay, I would want to look at our chapter 2. Components of a secure system. How do we know that a system is secure? You know, today, I hear Abraham saying the 100 million, my Lord. Abraham, leave money alone. Do you know what caused Jesus to die? Only 30 cents. But we know what the end happened for Judas. Do not be the ones to participate in betraying people, please. You can actually come up with better contracts, better work. You supply and carry out services and get even much more money than this in a clean way than just doing it in dubious ways. Components of a secure system. Yes, we looked at the cores here. We should know how to define security. Characteristics of information. That is our key core items of CIA and other key core concepts of what a secure system is. Today I was just running a reg shot on my computer again. And I'm telling you, this reg shot was showing I had over 194 viruses working and manifesting on my laptop. And yet I have an antivirus. I was thinking maybe some of these are already way into memory. Said I'm in lots of trouble. You can just keep analyzing your tool by doing your reg shots. You'll be surprised at how much you'll be able to find that there's active work going on your computer, you not knowing. Components of information systems, those ones are very easy to know and are well known to all of us. We should be very well versed with this. Types of attacks, the passive, active. The passive are the sniffers. The active, then they now fall into the active mode to be able to pick up actual information. Security services and their categories, we looked at them. The challenges, the taxonomy that showed us the reasons as to why people have these attacks, the examples, and there were quite a number of interesting scenarios here. But still, I would want us to type out what are some of these that we think we would want to look at. Of course, the 6 levels of security, these we should be able to know. CIA, at least we've been able to see how to test for integrity and confidentiality, because these are key core guiding items that the attorneys always want you to hand in. If one doesn't know how to test for them, it's very hard only having the theory. The practical is very important. It's very important and very key for us to know how to handle and manage them. That is CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And that's why you see every time, whatever you're testing for in forensics, you're trying to test to see if someone has actually breached those key core CIA items. Of course, we said there are several characteristics of information. Agava, Raymond, stop annotating. CIA, we looked at it and we defined what they are. Confidentiality is defined 2 ways. Data confidentiality itself, for information to keep undisclosed from unauthorized users. And for privacy, just make sure that information that comes to individuals is actually availed and not disclosed to people outside the people that are supposed to have it. Integrity, still system integrity and data integrity, explain it. For availability, you want to make sure that whenever service is there, it should be available. It should not be denied, or a rightful user should not be denied from its access. These are major components you are always looking at. The sender, the recipient, the snoopers, because these are the ones that are going to help in explaining what they do in the passive attacks and the active attacks, and types of passive attacks, types of active attacks. We're not going through each one of these slides really. Would want to hear, let me check in the chat room. Are there some items that we feel would want to focus on? Denial of service is also one of those attacks. And of course, we even saw them further when we looked at the malware that is attacking different organizations or even websites. Jovia, which steps? Steps in chapter 2. Okay. Here they're still basically explaining the key core services and concepts and what they expect us to follow through. Chapter 3 was an interesting one because in our chapter 3, we tried to tie together what we even termed as a recap. However, I do not know if we have covered, let me just quickly pick through. Oh, no, never mind me. The acquisition was handled there after next. That's in chapter 5. We had a 4 and 5. Okay, let me go quickly to look at our chapter 3. It appears quite big, but it has again our guiding outline of doing a quick recap as to where we were. Chapter 1, we had seen our overview, defining, looking at the steps, but even this chapter 3 looked at the digital forensic steps or that life cycle. In week 2, we said we also captured now the hardware parts, where we're looking at a secure computer. Week 3, we looked at a quick recap. Week 4, we went further to look at the storage devices. And thereafter, we followed through on our digital forensic investigation process. So we're tying our story together. That's why we just canceled digital media and hard disk basics, because these were covered in chapter 4. But still, for your tests, of course, chapter 4 has to be there. for this particular test because we're doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Basics around, again, defining, characteristics, why, forensics, the history, the goal, cyber crimes and evidence, the rules of handling evidence, locations for evidence, the top 10 locations of evidence. Let me quickly pick through. Maria, how many of you have not received the book? Let me still send it. Check in your chat room if you were logged on by then. Unless you were on and off. Okay. Heather, thank you for logging in. It's downloading, it's attaching. Can you see it attaching? However, it's online. And we've mentioned that, yes, our test on Saturday, 8 to 9, is going to be in a written format with some objectives and with some theory. So please, let's do our best to make sure okay, Zalwango, you should be able to receive it shortly. I have noted here that it has, it has gone. I wish I could share with you. No, I was going to share with you the chat, it can't, but it's there. I don't know who else has been able to view it. Either have you received it now? Okay, it depends now on your internet. It's only 29.76 MB. However, again, it's also uploaded on, it's loaded on the learning management system on Mwele. Okay, Madam, share it on WhatsApp. Shy girl. Your names are interesting. There is one I saw the other day called Mommy's Boy. Okay. Someone, Ronald says, yes, I've seen it. Ronald has even shared it again. I saw it, but had disappeared in just a second. Ronald, Ronnie, it can't disappear to where? It can't disappear. We will get it and share. We will share as much as we can there. Do we have any more questions for me? It's already 6:30. I would want to leave you to go and get revising. Together with Friday, so that we meet on Saturday when we are ready and set for our paper. It's a short one, 1 hour, and we've said our second paper will be online, which will cover 5, 6, 7, and 8. May God bless you all. Have a nice evening. It's refusing. Shy boy, shy girl. Oh my God. But let me first confirm online. You know, sometimes we tell you it's online, and until someone goes there, it's when you realize, it's actually not there. So let me just confirm I'm telling you, this is very serious. I'm telling you, they're serious. I don't know. Let me still get through and see, but it should be there. Let me just keep online. Pause our record.